Are you thinking about retiring? Well, one thing I'll suggest if you're thinking about retiring is to be comfortable with being alone. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, the people that you were around when you were at work, we may refer to them as friends, but they're more of an acquaintance. And if you don't believe that, once you retire, you certainly will. You'll hear from some of them. You may hear from one of them. You may hear from none of them. I can tell you that once you retire, you're going to be alone a lot. You need to be okay with that. The closest people to me now are my family, my spouse and my children. And I do hear from people that I work with, one of them, from time to time, but not very often. So I've had to learn to do things on my own and enjoy being alone. Now, you know, if you watch a lot of videos like I do, there's been a lot of videos made lately with the topic of the people that you work with, well, they aren't your friends. And, you know, that has some truth to it, whether we want to realize that or not. When we work in a group of people, we all have to get along. We all have to be cordial and somewhat nice to each other, even though that doesn't always exist with everybody. But to say that they're friends, sometimes that can be a real stretch. I like to refer to them as acquaintances. In other words, people that I know some things about, not everything. You know, a friend you know very well and you tend to know a lot more about. We call them friends because we work with them. We talk to them every single day. And it's kind of like a friendship. But usually, as with most other things, when you walk out that door at the end of the day, you don't see them or hear from them until the next day. And that's not what friends do. A true friend will make contact with you after you go home from work. Now, like I said in the beginning of this video, if you're about to retire, you may need to get comfortable with being alone. I've gotten used to it. I find ways to entertain myself, but I do get to spend time with my family. But as far as people that you worked with coming out of the woodwork and saying, hey, let's go out and grab a bite to eat or anything like that, or sometimes even calling you, well, that's probably going to stop. Not only because they're still busy working, but remember, it doesn't matter how much they smiled at you, doesn't matter how much they talked to you. Was your relationship based on friendship first, or was it based on the working relationship? If it was based on the working relationship, they were there mostly for the same reason you were. And that reason was to bring home a paycheck, make some money. Wasn't really to make friends. And that's evident sometimes with some of the people that you work with. They can be very closed off and don't really want to be friendly. They're there for one purpose only, and that is to gain a paycheck. But in that working relationship, kind of out of necessity, we do make a very light friendship with these people. And that way we can relate, we can work together, we can try to, strive for the common goal of what we're there for. But remember, just because you worked with them doesn't necessarily mean they were your friend. You'll develop friendships once you go into retirement. But if you're going to lean on the people that you worked with as being your friendships, you may be sadly disappointed when it comes to retirement. It's okay. We came into this world alone, we'll go out of this world alone. And we learn to make friends with other people that have a common interest that we do. So don't fret. Just remember, if you're about to retire, you need to get comfortable with sometimes being alone by yourself with no friends. Thank you. Bye-bye.